In the first story, a woman decides to divorce her husband because of his awful mother-in-law. After a year of suffering due to the mother-in-law's behavior, the ex-husband expresses a desire to reconcile. Apologies for the rambling. I'm quite upset. English isn't my first language. My ex and I were married for over 5 years and together for 10. His mother was a nightmare, constantly belittling and humiliating me. Despite this, I endured it out of love for my husband, never wanting to force him to choose between us. I always informed him of her actions, but he dismissed them as harmless signs of maternal affection. He even laughed off her racist remarks and accusations of me being a gold digger, despite me earning more than him. Whenever I stood up for myself, he would become angry with me. However, the breaking point came when our daughter was born. My mother-in-law constantly interfered with parenting, criticizing me at every turn. Despite my daughter's medical condition, which required her to avoid certain substances, my mother-in-law ignorantly gave her essential oils, resulting in a serious health crisis. When I confronted my husband, he defended his mother's actions, leading me to decide on divorce. I recall a previous post detailing a situation even more perilous than mine, involving allergens and the need for an EpiPen. His face was like that Pikachu meme when I served him. He didn't know why I was doing that because we were happy. So now a year has passed and my life has been hell. My mother-in-law tried every dirty trick in the book to take my daughter. To name a few, she accused my brother of saying her. She accused me of neglect. She accused me of taking drugs and leaving them in reach of a toddler. I take thyroxine. For heaven's sake. She accused me of endangering my daughter by leaving a random man in my house. The list goes on. During this time, my ex's excuse was that I broke his heart and I had to understand his mother. She only wants what's best for him. Luckily, I got good representation and even got my daughter full-time, minus some weekends or visitation. I could prove that my daughter was endangered by his mother. So now to the advice part. I knew that my ex needed to be permanently in my life because of my daughter, and I was learning to live with that. He was very cold with me because, again, I broke his heart. Now two things have come together. My ex Bill got married to an African-American woman, so of course, my ex Mill flipped. I started dating again. My ex-boyfriend is a great guy, and he actually stood up for his wife. Go figure. It is possible. I stay in contact with him because we are friends and he was a mediator and fought with his brother quite often. So my Bill actually stood up for his wife, and my ex-husband got his pants pinned in a twist. My Bill basically opened his eyes to how SHDD he was being, and that their mom treated me the same way she treated his wife. And finally, my dense ex started understanding. The guy I am seeing is great. I have even met his parents, and his mother is normal. She treats me like a human being, has already invited me to many family functions, and tries to make me and my daughter feel welcomed. My ex got wind of the situation through a mutual friend, and guess who is now flipping his SHD? He started bringing flowers and chocolate. I don't even like chocolate. To pick up our daughter, he sends me cards and SMS with hearts and who knows what. Yesterday was the best thing. My daughter was at my mother's place, and I was at home with my boyfriend. He appears in front of my door crying and clutching my engagement ring, begging me to come back. I said no and that he should go away. He wouldn't and started demanding that I come out to talk to him. My boyfriend told him that he would call the police, and in his pathetic fashion, he threatened to beat my boyfriend up. I closed the door and let him pound the sand. Today, he picked up my daughter for a day trip, and when they came back, my daughter was asking if I loved my boyfriend more than her. Now I am at a loss for what to do. I already told my daughter that it was impossible because my love for her is infinite, and there is nothing bigger than infinite. But now I know that my ex is trying to make my daughter hate me. I am at a loss because I won't use my daughter as ammunition, but also, what the hell am I supposed to do? Do you guys have any advice? Edit. Mean update. Thanks to you all. I needed to vent and was feeling helpless, and I am so thankful for you wonderful people. I talked to my lawyer, who confirmed that we could have a case for domestic violence by proxy. A social worker will be visiting us in the next few days to talk to my daughter about this. Edit. Because apparently people want to spin the narrative around me. I don't care if he wants me back. I don't love him anymore and will never get back together with him. Staying for the sake of our daughter would not make sense, as it has been proven that kids grow up happier in divorced homes than in unhappy homes. I tried talking to my husband when we were still married, and he would always brush it off. He would brush off everything his mother did. I complained to him and told him we needed to go to therapy, which he declined. He has his daughter on the weekends. The court gave me majority custody because of his mother. Jesus, guys, I guess in some of y'all's eyes, I should have kept being by my ex's side as a submissive bimbo. Second post. Next day. I just posted here yesterday, but it feels like weeks have passed. So I have just left my daughter with my mother and am going to my lawyer again. I followed some advice you guys gave me, and we sat down with my daughter to chit-chat. We knew we couldn't prompt any kind of response by asking overly specific questions, as per her therapist. So my mother asks my daughter, let's call her Kat. Kat, what do you and Daddy talk about? And Kat just listed many toddler things like how she talks about kindergarten gains, etc. When I was kind of relieved that that comment my ex made yesterday may just be a one-off, came the big bomb. He also shows me pictures of houses and tells me I can now have 2 rooms with loads of stuff. I ask if her dad is buying a new house. Nope. It turns out that Nut wants to take my daughter out of the country. He shows her pictures of beach houses and even buys her a bag so she can put her stuff in it, which explains why so many of her clothes have gone missing. At first, I thought that maybe my ex hadn't told me yet because it hadn't come through. But no, he told my daughter to keep this a secret because mommy would get sad if she knew that daddy was going away. So I am effing livid and also sad because I will have to tell my daughter no once again. I feel lost. Edit. Update. I talked to my lawyer, and we have taken measures that I can't discuss here, but we are on them. I have my daughter's passport as we flew last month to visit extended family. Also, I am a citizen, so even if my ex-Mill tried to have me deported, that wouldn't be possible. Final update, 2 weeks later. So I thought of giving you the last update as you helped me through this. I didn't have enough evidence to request an ex parte, aka emergency child custody, so my lawyer and I had to work on steps to prevent child abduction. We got a custody decree that included provisions including passports, travel restrictions, etc. We also had to be very wary of the signs. He, in fact, quit his job, and on a realtor's page, I saw that he was putting his mother's house on sale. That and my daughter's words were all we needed to notify law enforcement for them to keep an eye out. I couldn't prevent my daughter from seeing her father. We tried to continue business as usual without my daughter feeling something was up. I got a call from the police department regarding the passport situation. My daughter's passport had expired very recently, 5 years of validity. My ex-husband had tried to request a passport for my daughter without my knowledge, which was stupid because even without the decree, I had to be present or submit a notarized document stating that he could request the passport. After that, things actually went very fast. He was investigated because he violated the decree, and it was found out that Mill had bought 3 tickets with no return date to Mexico. I could request an ex parte after a SHD ton of documents. I submitted it. In most cases, the judge will evaluate them behind closed doors. We had the hearing yesterday. It usually takes 10 to 20 days, which was very good for me. ATM, I have sole custody of my daughter. This is all temporary. My ex has visitation rights if I am present, but he can't take her anywhere. This is once the investigation into him is closed. I was cursed out by my ex and ex-Mill, and they said they would try to contest this, but they have no leg to stand on. My daughter will continue therapy, especially after this. I will not prohibit him from seeing her, but he needs help. This was really scary, and it was a very intense 2 weeks. I don't think that I will update again, but I wanted to thank you all for your tips and support. I am really thankful as I am finally not anxious the whole time. Thank you very much. Second story. Entitled Wife Wants to Reconcile and Be a Family Again After Abandoning Op and their daughter for 2 years to find herself. 2 years ago, my wife pulled the classic, "I'm going to buy some smokes," and just disappeared. She suffered from depression, and I did my best to take the load off her and help her get the help she needed. She would keep saying how she was sick of everything, even our daughter, and again I would give her space and try to accommodate every request. Then she just disappeared. She took some of her stuff, and she was just gone. I had gone to pick up our daughter at school after work, and after we came home, she was gone. The police were involved, but after 3 days, she called her mother saying she was fine but wishing us not to look for her or contact her. It was hardworking, raising our daughter as a single father, trying to explain to her why mom was gone and not knowing what to say when she asked if mommy would ever be back. At the same time, I appreciated the strong bond one built with my daughter, and that helped a lot. I never looked into or filed for divorce, but around last year's summer, I met a woman, Jill, and we started an on and off relationship. She knows all about my situation, and although we are currently on break, she is still a big help and has established a rapport with my daughter as an aunt figure. I was thinking of getting the ball rolling for divorce when 2 weeks ago, my wife returned. She was completely apologetic, but she also seemed to have become a new person entirely, upbeat and positive, almost with a glow to herself. She popped back in with a, "Hey guys, what did I miss?" While after our initial shock, my daughter and I became diffident. In the last few days, my daughter has warmed up to her, but I haven't. She tried to initiate intimacy after 2 nights, but I told her I was not comfortable about it and asked her to move to the guest room, which she did, saying she completely understood. I asked her where she's been the last few years, and she pretty much toured around the world. I don't even know with what money and found herself. I told her pretty bluntly that I was looking for divorce and that there's already someone else. She said she completely understands if I hate her now, which I don't, but maybe I can give her a chance to make it up to us. I am torn. I still have feelings for her, and I'm glad my daughter got her mother back, but how can I trust her to not just walk out on us? What am I supposed to do with Jill? Thanks for everything, but my wife is back. So long and thanks for the fish. I don't know where to put my head anymore. Comments. Hand hook, car door. This is above Reddit's pay. Great if you want to pursue being with her. You absolutely need a couples therapist. All Reddit can do is tell you that you're absolutely right for wanting a divorce. Outrageous iguana. She's a flight risk. You and your daughter deserve stability, even if you're a family of 2. File for divorce. File for full custody. If she wants to be a part of your daughter's life and prove to her that she's not going to abandon her again, fine. But it's not just a let mommy come back situation. She will eventually bolt again. Your daughter deserves better than that. Update 12 days later. Hello people. I have read your comments, even though I replied very little. But I appreciate your advice and insight. I have an update, but I'm afraid it will be a bit disappointing. My MIL has agreed to take my soon-to-be ex-wife in, and she moved out without making a fuss. She says she understands, but would like to keep a relationship with our daughter. I let her know I was pursuing a divorce, and she took it seemingly well. Her only request is that I don't bar her from our daughter. She gave me an account of what she's been up to the last couple of years. I am not sure whether to believe her or not, and at this point, I don't care. I have contacted a lawyer, and we are looking into a smooth and quick divorce. If my ex-wife keeps being so cooperative, I think she could have visitation rights, but I am not sure about custody. Perhaps if she demonstrates she can be a safe parent in the future. Jill and I are not back together. She proposed rekindling our relationship, but right now, my priority is my daughter and sorting out my affairs and the divorce. Jill has agreed to give me time, but also asked me to let her know my choice in a reasonable amount of time because she really wants to be with me and my daughter. But neither she nor I can wait forever. I agreed with her. Now we get by day at it. Jill is not my soon-to-be ex-wife. She's the woman I had a relationship with after my wife abandoned us and helped me with my daughter. Comments. Veronica_9216. I am happy. I am happy to hear you are doing well. Take your time, but in my opinion, losing Jill would be a mistake. You will end up regretting. She seems very understanding of your situation and willing to support you in this trying time. OP, I don't know. Right now, the priority is my daughter. Of course, Jill can keep a rapport with her, but I don't think this is the moment for a relationship. Derek_Thorn. Why are you on and off with Jill? If you like being with her, then be with her. Your ex should not be part of that equation. OP, it's not about my ex. It's that my daughter is the priority, and I feel I can't give 100% to a romantic partner. Jill understands this, but right now, I can't focus on a relationship. Derek_Thorn. Your daughter likes Jill, right? You are sort of keeping her from having a positive female influence right now when she probably needs it most. I think the thing is that you are conflicted with your wife coming back into the picture. If you show your daughter what a healthy relationship is like, then you are really helping her in this process. What I'd be worried about is that she's going to learn that when things get tough, her female role models leave. Maybe if you keep things normal and only make one change to her world, the addition of her mother, it will be less traumatic. OP, I didn't think about it in those terms. I do want Jill, and I don't want us to lose her. Derek_Thorne. Plan an evening with Jill. Apologize if you hurt her feelings. Tell her you want her in your life and that she's been a great mother to your daughter. Tell her you'd like to have her with you through this and beyond. Super simple, my dude. Go forth and do great things. Third story. OP's entitled husband says, "My money is mine. Your money is ours." My husband and I had triple all boys about 2 years after we got married. They had some health issues because of that. My husband wanted me to quit my job and take care of our boys and our home since it was cheaper than paying for specialized childcare. I agreed. Our family lives in a row of townhomes, 6 homes in our building that were owned by our landlord at the time. I was offered a job cleaning townhomes when a tenant moved out by our landlord. I asked my husband about it. He said that he didn't care, but he didn't want it to interfere with my responsibilities at home. We also agreed the money would be mine since it's a second job. We did this for 3 years. It grew into a where I cleaned other places for my landlord. I just put the money into savings. My father-in-law died in June of 2019. When my husband received a check from his mom, I asked my husband about it. He got angry and said that it was his money and any future inheritance would not be part of our family budget. My husband ended up going on several trips with his brothers with the money. I was okay with that, although I was hurt. He got angry when I asked about it. October 2021, my grandpa died. I am the only grandchild. My parents make good money, so his estate was left to me. I just transferred the money. He rented out the farmland around his home. I did decide to keep his home since it is close to my parents' home. I live 4 hours away from them. I didn't talk to my husband about it since it was my inheritance. In January of this year, my landlord came to me and let me know he was selling the townhomes I live in. With costs rising around us, I was worried about it. It would have had a major impact on our family's budget. Things worked out to the point where I was able to use my inheritance combined with what I had saved from working to buy the building. My husband came to me and told me he wanted me to deposit part of the rental income from the other townhomes into our family account, allowing us to spend more money on fun. I reminded him of our agreements, and along with that, we no longer have a rent payment. We ended up in a fight. He is saying I am being the for not sharing the money coming in. Relevant comments. Someone asked if OP's husband used all the inheritance on trips, if he used some for the family, and if he had contributed to fund money when my father-in-law passed away. I was driving a compact car one I owned before we got married. Fitting the kids' car seats in the back seat was very difficult. So when I saw his mom give him the money, I asked about it. All of the money he received was spent on trips with his siblings. None of it went to our family. He burned through it fast. He was gone a lot, leaving me alone for days. I think he needed a break from it all with the triplets. We had to make hardcore decisions before he received this money. We both made major sacrifices, cutting all our hobbies, trips, cable, and so on. We went to the bare basics just to cover the kids' medical expenses. He struggled with cutting back so much. I struggled and struggled with worrying about how to come up with all the co-pays for our kids' medical expenses. I wanted to have the money in savings for my peace of mind. Even though I could have had fun with the money I earned, I didn't. I wanted that safety net. Someone asked if OP's husband had even thought about caregiver burnout. I don't think he has even considered caregiver burnout. In our state, it's a requirement to have so many hours of respite care. We didn't have a choice. My aunt took the classes, and she is certified for their care. I mostly go grocery shopping for things I have to do. I have only been gone for an hour or two a couple of times a week. He might think this is enough of a break. I did make a decision a little bit ago after crying on the phone with my mom. I have never left my boys. I spoke to my aunt. I asked her if she could watch the boys while my husband was at work for a couple of days next week. She said yes. I'm going to go on a trip. I leave on Friday when my husband comes home. Coming back Tuesday night. I want to go skiing. I haven't been since before the triplets. I found a big, beautiful cabin next to a spa. I even ordered some silk pajamas on Amazon. I can't even remember the last time I bought clothes for myself. I told my aunts that they could watch the kids during the weekend and after work, giving them all some bonding time while giving me some downtime. She said she would be on standby if he called her for help. She finished with, "I'm with him. I'm sure he will need it." Update 1. My husband and I had a long talk when he came home. He knows I am leaving on a trip and asked me to go. I told him I needed time. I showed him the comments on this thread. He said he would do whatever I wanted, and he volunteered to sign a postnuptial before I even asked him. He just doesn't want a divorce. He was shocked by how many people recommended that here. My BFF's husband is a lawyer. He said he can draw up the paperwork tonight. We will sign tomorrow. I will update you after my trip on how it all goes. I also decided that once he signs the prenuptial on my inheritance, I will ask him about putting my work income in our family budget. He can help when he is off work with the house and kids as a possible compromise, allowing him to have some spending money and giving me a break. Update 2. Life has been interesting. I had a blast on my trip. My husband was pushed into the deep end of parenting 3 active babies combined with medical care. He was way over his head. When I came home, his mom, my aunt, and my husband were all there. His mom complains all the time about what kinds of foods I give the boys and what they wear. Emile decided while I was gone she was going to do it right. There was a lot I came home to, but I will just share one thing about each of the boys. Baby 1 is type 1 diabetic, and I am very careful with his diet. I went to a nutritionist, and together we set up a meal plan for him, aka the foods my mother-in-law complains about. My husband and Emile had a hard time keeping his blood sugars in check. When I got home, my mother-in-law was on the verge of tears because she had to keep poking him. Baby 1 didn't like it. Now when Emile tries to come near him, he just starts crying. Baby 2 wears hearing aids. They cost $5,000 and need to be changed every 6 months or so as he grows. The other 2 babies are fascinated by them. One is now missing. Baby 3 has heart problems. My husband said every time he went to lay him down, the oxygen monitor would go off. The thing the husband didn't figure out was that baby 3 hates anything on his face, so you have to rock him to sleep then carefully put the oxygen in his nose. My aunt informed me that my husband phoned her around midnight on the first night. His mother was present at that time. Upon my return home, both my husband and his mother offered apologies to me. Over the past few days, I've been occupied with laundry and tidying up, though I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I extend my gratitude for all the advice. Additionally, I appreciate your viewership of the video. Should you be intrigued by such narratives, we have plenty more lined up for you. Just subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and share it with your friends.